Actually, the urge for spirituality is very natural to all of us. We seek to find a meaning to our life. We wish to dedicate ourselves to a higher cause. We wish to connect with something higher than ourselves. And we wish to improve ourselves from within.
Yeah. Namaste, Swamiji. Am I audible?
Namaste, Tushar. Let me just. Yes, you are audible. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, you are. Right. So, Swamiji, how are you doing?
I am doing very well. How about you?
I'm also doing good, sir.
Go ahead.
So, sir, the very first question which comes to my mind is like you graduated from IIT Delhi. You went on to do MBA from IIM Calcutta. So, after doing these, following a path like yours is pretty unconventional. So I would like to know that what was the reason, like were you determined from the very start that you want to try out this thing? Or was there some event in your life, some significant event which motivated you to follow this path?
Tushar, actually, the urge for spirituality is very natural to all of us. We seek to find a meaning to our life. We wish to dedicate ourselves to a higher cause. We wish to connect with something higher than ourselves. And we wish to improve ourselves from within. So this urge is there to different extents in different people. And for me, the quest was a very, very deep passion. It started off when I was in school itself. I found a book, and without anybody's guidance, I started meditating. So all through IIT, this was a habit that stuck with me. In the evening when I would come back from playing, I would meditate for about 15 minutes to half an hour. Now, of course, engineering education was very, very nourishing to the intellect. But one question would always be there in my mind. We are learning so many laws. Now, if there are laws in nature, there must be a lawmaker as well. And we are not receiving information about the lawmaker. So the questions which were bigger for me: who am I? Why am I in this world? What is my purpose in life? What is the way to true happiness and fulfillment? These were left unanswered. Right. And then when I joined MBA in IIM Calcutta, it was a very vast exposure to humanities subjects. So while in engineering, it was very rigorous science and technology, the MBA course exposed us to psychology, economics, organizational behavior, sociology, etc. And having a little smattering of all this knowledge, again I felt that the questions important to me are not getting answered. So a quest developed. What is the absolute truth to life? Now this quest found its fulfillment when I started reading the Bhagavad Gita. A classmate of mine introduced me to the Bhagavad Gita, and slowly the cobwebs in the head, they just disappeared. And the clarity came that I am a divine soul, not the body, and my soul is a part of the Supreme. So I started engaging in the process of devotion and found so much of fulfillment and satisfaction in that it became a very, very deep passion. So I did work in IIT. Of course, we had the internship. In IIM, again, there was the internship. Then after completing my MBA, again, I did a job. But I would not find meaning and purpose in it. So ultimately, the thing that really satisfies us is not how much we are earning or what position we get, but the inner sense of fulfillment that I'm using my life for a good purpose. My spiritual teacher, he explained to me, he said, look, there is no shortage of engineers and MBAs in this country. What is needed in society is for educated people who can understand spiritual science and who can teach it to others. So that's when I decided that for my own seeking and as an opportunity to serve others with this knowledge, I must take this step. And since then, I've never looked back.
Right, sir. Swamiji, sometimes like in our lives, we tend to undervalue ourselves. And I believe that this is a very common phenomenon in IIT. If not all, but many of us sometimes tend to undervalue or feel inferior due to other people, because when you study in IIT, you are studying with the cream of the nation and there is a very tough competition. So what, according to you, should be the way to tackle this inferiority or the insecurity which develops in us?
Yes, Tushar. One has to learn to manage one's emotions and choose those emotions and attitudes that are beneficial, empowering, and providing happiness. So the whole of India looks to IIT as a privilege, as a tremendous opportunity. But again, it's not necessary that everybody in IIT is in the top of the class. It can never happen. So everybody's cup has a little empty portion and a large full portion. It's a question of what we focus upon. If somebody chooses to see where he is inferior, he'll say, or she'll say, my grades are less than that person. But if we can just choose to look at those who would so gladly exchange their place with ours, then we'll find that we are so blessed and so privileged. So for all IITians and for anybody, I would say, count your blessings. Develop the spirit of gratitude. And you will find there's lots and lots and lots to feel happy about and to feel grateful about. This is what helps us develop the attitude, the mindset of positivity.
Right, sir. Sir, I was reading that you are the founder of JKYog. So could you tell us a bit about this organization? I mean, what exactly is the purpose of this organization and your vision behind it?
All right. For the last 30 plus years, I have been engaged in distributing the knowledge that I have cultivated and received. So this is the service that I do to society, to share wisdom, to share the gems and secrets in our ancient texts. Now, in order to disseminate that knowledge, we need some kind of an organizational platform. And that was the purpose behind creating JKYog. So initially I established it in India, and then my spiritual teacher, he wanted me to take this knowledge to the West as well. So established it in USA, and it undertakes a variety of activities. So on one level, the goal is to spread this wonderful wisdom, to enrich people's lives. That is for then. The second step is those who wish to practice it, they should get the opportunity to systematically imbibe this knowledge in their lives. We have got ashrams, satsang centers, temples in various places in India, in USA, and around the world. When I started spreading this teaching in USA, the Indians, they said, Swamiji, what about our children? You must think about the next generation as well. So we launched a character building program and playground for Vedic wisdom for the children. This is called the Bal Mukund program. And then there was again a request, what about the youth? So we started a variety of leadership training programs for the youth, that's between the ages of 13 and 19, to help them see the beauty of this wisdom and its connection with their lives. And then, of course, as a socially responsible organization, we strive to help humankind materially, culturally as well. So in India, we are running free hospitals. We are running a naturopathy hospital, which is the biggest naturopathy hospital in Eastern India, which is helping people learn a healthy lifestyle. And we are in the process of establishing a university, which alongside with giving people material education, will also help them become teachers of Vedic sciences, yogic sciences, and human excellence. In the West, my headquarters is in Dallas. We have congregational centers and temples all over USA, and I divide my time about 7 months in USA, 5 months in India. So I conduct about 20 week-long workshops all over USA. Now, when this lockdown happened because of COVID, very naturally our volunteers, they took all these teachings online. And we have 3 such centers. One is the JKYog Academy, which has about 6-7 classes every day online. We have a Center for Indian Culture and Education based in Dallas, and we have JKYog India's programs. So in a humble way, we are trying to make a difference with whatever we have.
Right, sir. I think this is a great initiative, and I hope that you continue with your mission of spreading your message, and more people benefit from this vision of yours. So the next question is from one of your devotees, and he asks that how can one pursue spirituality along with life as an individual bound to worldly affairs? And he also mentions Kundalini awakening. So if you could tell us a bit about what is this particular term and how can one achieve spirituality with being bound to the worldly affairs?
That is a very, very relevant question, because not everybody is going to take sannyas. This path of sannyas is for a few, and for the majority, they have to add spirituality to their regular lives.
Right.
And that is exactly what the Bhagavad Gita teaches us. See, people have this misconception that either I am materialistic or I leave the world to become spiritual. However, the Bhagavad Gita tells us, wherever you are, add spirituality to your life. So before listening to the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun was doing his duty as a warrior. After listening to this wisdom, he was still doing his duty as a warrior.
Right.
What changed was his consciousness. Similarly, if you lead a career in engineering or management or civil services, spirituality helps you look at the world differently. It's not for my enjoyment. I have a higher purpose. The works I do are not for self-seeking, but they are acts of service consecrated to the Supreme. Spirituality gives us the tools to manage our mind, to tweak our values and beliefs. to empower ourselves to bring out the best in us. And there are going to be difficult times because problems are very natural in this world. Now, some people, when the going is all right, everything is smooth sailing. But the moment a problem comes, they get shattered. And spirituality is the best way to add resilience to our lives. It is the best way to overcome stress. Now, let me share with you a little humorous episode. This was probably the year about 2009 or 10. I was in Chicago, and the IIT Alumni Association of Midwest, which is based in Chicago, they reached out to me. So they said, Swamiji, you are also an alumnus. Please come and address our monthly meeting. So I said, sure, it will be my pleasure. That they put forth the topic of stress management. A very, very practical topic for all executives. Stress is called the executive's disease.
Right.
So that is when I researched stress management and all the tools that were being offered on google.com, etc. And I discovered that the best tool for stress management was offered 5,000 years ago by Lord Krishna, when he said, Yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhe, or a simpler verse which everybody has heard, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. He says, focus on your efforts, put in your best, but don't be attached to results. So what stresses people out is that attachment to results. If they can just learn to focus on their efforts, they will excel as students, as executives, as engineers, with all freedom from tension and anxiety. So this is just a few of the ways in which spirituality enriches. And the second part of his question about Kundalini Yoga. So Tushar, our ancient Indian culture is known the world over as a spiritual culture. And India is revered as Jagat Guru of the world. Whenever anybody wants spirituality, think of India. So we have a variety of pathways to evolve ourselves. There's Karma Yoga, there's Jnana Yoga, there's Bhakti Yoga, there's Ashtanga Yoga, Kundalini Yoga. The principle behind Kundalini Yoga is that you have a subtle power that is in your spine that can be awakened and slowly lifted up for spiritual realization. So there are spiritual practices for it. However, this process of Kundalini Yoga is a dangerous one because it's an immense power. And unless it is done under the guidance of a trained teacher, there's chance that the body can get affected, and even worse, the mind can get affected. So it is not necessary to go via that pathway. There is Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, which are far simpler and far more powerful in lifting our consciousness.
Right. Swamiji, nextly, I would like to ask you that what is the biggest challenge which you have faced so far in your life?
Actually, I somehow don't find challenges to be very, very daunting. It's just an attitude that I have developed. The challenges always bring out the best in one. So people ask, Swamiji, is this path of sannyas a difficult one? So no doubt it is difficult. You have to give up the lower self and learn to live from the higher self. So it's always a fight. keep those senses and mind subdued and learn to live in accordance with your knowledge and your values. But as if one is inspired, then even difficult things become easy. So when people tell me, Swamiji, isn't it a difficult path? I say, a difficult path is the one that you have chosen. Isn't it so difficult to establish a business, to make a house, to run in the corporate rat race? I am finding this immense fulfillment of leading my life in accordance with my values. So, apart from my spiritual practice, there are two kinds of sadhus. One is a bhajananandi, who is focused on his own personal sadhana. And the third is the goshti anandi, who is focused on spreading this knowledge. Now, when you spread this knowledge, you are in the world. And by force, I am obliged to interact with hundreds and thousands of people. So the most difficult part is the human interaction part, because human beings are human beings. And to bring out the best in them, to prevent them from being overcome by negativity, to ensure that they remain inspired day after day, year after year, and keep growing, I think that is what I find the most challenging.
Right, sir. We have another question from one of your devotees, and he says that they say being uncertain about your future at times is natural. What's your take on that? And could you share any incident of yourself when you were unsure of what's next?
Yes. Uncertainty is a fact of life. From moment to moment, we can never be sure. Nobody knew that this corona is going to come. In retrospect, people may say it was written here, it was written there, but all the astrologers, all the palmists, and all the soothsayers, they all failed in this regard. So the future is always an uncertainty. Now, if we keep our minds into the future, what will happen? What will happen? What will be the consequence? We will not be able to enjoy the present. Some people are so focused on goals that they miss out the joy of the journey. And there are some people who lament so much about the past that they cannot live in the present. So human life unfolds itself in the present. This present moment is the doorway to divinity. So I have just learned to live in the present. And that is why this question and the previous question actually stumped me, because neither do I find challenges to be overwhelming, nor do I concern myself with the future. Because what is in our hands is the present. If we can do our best in the present moment, the future will take care of itself. So, of course, moment to moment, there are always uncertainties. In a worldwide mission of JKYog, there's always uncertainty. Is this going to come about? Will this project be successful? Will we have permission to do this? We are launching a program without any guarantees. Will it actually meet our expectations? These are always there. But we account for it and then try and do our best in the future. So very humbly, frankly, I am not one of those who worries for the future.
Right, sir. That's great. I mean, if we can also imbibe at least some percentage of what you just said, I think we would actually live a more balanced life. Because as like personally, I can say that even I also sometimes worry a lot about the future or lament over my past. But as you said, I think I completely agree with you that if we focus on our present and give our best, the future will take care of itself.
That's very right, Tushar. That is the way to live. To release the past, to let the future take care of itself, and to relish and enjoy the journey in the present.
Right, sir. Sir, there is another question which usually comes to my mind, that how to overcome laziness. Sometimes it's that I understand that, for example, I am 22 years old. So this is like one of the golden years of my lives when, I am physically fit, I'm mentally strong, and I want to do things, I want to try out new stuff. But sometimes we tend to feel lazy or maybe feel directionless, something of that sort. So what, according to you, are the tools which we can use to overcome that and, make our day more productive?
Yes, Tushar, that question is relevant to everyone. The scriptures say, Alasyam hi manushyanam sharirastho mahan ribhu. The biggest disease in the human body is alasya, or laziness. We all know what is beneficial, what is to be done. We all know we should be doing it. But out of laziness, we don't give our best to it. That is always the case. And I don't think anybody can say that, no, I have overcome laziness. So the counter to it is inspiration. If we can inspire ourselves, if we can be enthused and motivated, that is the fuel to propel ourselves forward in life. The way to give your best, the way to bring out your innate potential, and the way to enrich every moment of your life is to fill yourself with inspiration. Now, you have asked for tools. See, when I visit colleges, etc., nowadays it's a craze in India to invite motivational speakers. And some of the students, they put me in the same category. Swamiji, we have heard so many motivational speakers, you are yet another one. And when we hear them, we become completely inspired. But a couple of days go by, and the inspiration all dies out. So how to remain in that state of motivation? Well, the answer is very simple. Our level of inspiration depends upon what knowledge we keep active in our intellect. This intellect is like a vessel. You hear things, it comes in. You read things, it comes in. You see things, it comes in. Now, from those 50 kinds of knowledge, you lift one. If you lift the right kind of knowledge and activate it, it will inspire you. So, for example, if you think, wow, I am blessed to have had such wonderful education, to have been born in a good family and received this wonderful upbringing. I am blessed that creation has gifted me with mastery over science and technology. Millions look up to this opportunity. But I have a small window that the human form has granted me, and time is precious. It will run out. That is why every day can make a difference. So if you realize the value of the opportunity and the temporariness of time and keep that knowledge active, you will find that every day you have a very simple tool for inspiring yourself.
Right, sir. Swamiji, a lot of people tell about finding the real purpose of life. So that is my question, that what is this real purpose of life? Is it just limited to finding your passion and doing the job you love? or is it something higher than this?
Okay. To some extent, it is okay. You wish to find your passion and do the job you love. However, there may be a contradiction out here. The job you love may not give you the kind of living standard you want. Now, somebody may be passionate about cricket. You know, as school children, so many of them want to be test cricketers. But at the end of the day, it is just 16 players who get that privilege, and the others are disappointed. So I have a devotee family whose son started doing well in shooting. It became a passion, and he became like the state junior champion. And he was having his eyes set on making a career out of it. And then slowly the frustration started coming because it was not easy. Then I said, look, you are pushing your child in the wrong direction. It's not just about passion or the job that you love. So when you talk about the goal or purpose of life, I like to put it in this way. The first urge in all of us is to try and improve ourselves. It's very natural. We all wish to be better than we are. You want to be a better son, a better citizen, a better engineer, a better friend, right? So we have an intrinsic program that is automated in our soul, which is pushing us, that strive to be better. So very visibly, perceptibly, one goal of life is to learn to become the best version of yourself. Of course, the ultimate in this would be to reach the supreme goal, which is super consciousness. That is what the Vedas explain. Swami Vivekananda, he put it very well. He said, these great prophets whom you and I worship, they were not unique. They were men and women as you and I, and they had attained super consciousness. And you and I can do the same. The very fact that one person attained that state indicates that all of us can do so. And that ultimately is religion. So the purpose of all the religions of the world is to enable us to improve, to reach super consciousness. Now the Vedas say it's a journey which has been unfolding since lifetimes. And when you came into this life form, you had a certain bank balance. At least move ahead from there, even if you don't reach the ultimate. And having mentioned this as the first aspect of purpose of life, to be good, the second aspect is to do good. So we all want to make a difference. In which is your discipline in IIT? Which engineering stream are you from?
Sir, I am in textile and fiber engineering.
Okay. So, you know, in the manufacturing line, studies have been done of workers whose job is to assemble and workers whose job is to tear apart. And they find that workers who are tearing apart, they are more dissatisfied. That sense of fulfillment is not there, which comes naturally to workers who are assembling. So we all wish to utilize our talents and skills in a way that makes a difference, to bring out the music in you. So whatever be your latent talents and abilities, utilize them to make a difference in the lives of people in this world. That will satisfy you. So now it becomes three things: to be good, the second, to do good, and a consequence of this will be to feel good. That is the purpose of life.
Right, absolutely. So this is going to be the last question for this session. So I would like you to share some of your memories from your IIT days, like which hostel were you in and what all activities were you involved in, and finally a final piece of advice to all the present students of IIT regarding what should they focus on and what all should they try to gain from this campus and this great institute.
Well, Tushar, you are very, very right about the great institute and wonderful campus. It was an absolute honor to be there. Mine was either the last or the second last 5-year batch. So we had B.Tech, which stretched over 5 years. I was in Nilgiri hostel. I graduated in the year 1982 from mechanical engineering, and I loved sports. So I used to play tennis, I used to play squash, used to go for swimming. We used to love our evening walks as students. And of course, in those days, there were no movies on mobiles. So we would go for movies to the nearby theaters. There was Priya Cinema and Chanakya, and the two names that I remember now. And of course, a lot of fun with our hostel mates. That was the time when in youth where you have so much of energy and so much of creativity. Loved going to the library, reading a variety of books. I think the mistake I made was I did not take my engineering studies very seriously. Somehow, I kind of was not too inspired by that. I was not like a poor student. I was doing quite all right. But in retrospect, the opportunities that were there, I could have utilized them better. Nevertheless, my advice to the IITians would be that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity where you have every facility to learn, to develop your personality, to evolve yourself. So don't look on student life as an opportunity just to enjoy. Instead of that, look on it as an opportunity for growth. So IIT offers you so many avenues for growth in all facets of human activity. So find the hobbies that really you connect with, that you find fulfillment with. Look on your classes and opportunities to nourish yourself with the technology that you are receiving and make the best version of yourself. So real life will begin when you graduate, because that will be the test. How you have prepared yourself. It will not matter how did you enjoy. What will matter will be how did you prepare yourself for the world ahead.
Right, sir. Absolutely. So, Swamiji, I think that was all with the session, and I believe it was a very fruitful session. And I'm sure that whoever is going to watch this video online is surely going to love it. So, formally, I would like to thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule to interact with us. And we wish you all the best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Tushar. Thank you to your Board of Student Welfare for inviting me for this session. It is always a pleasure to reach back to my alma mater and connect with a larger IIT community. And I enjoyed every bit of this program. My best wishes to all who are participating in this online. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Swamiji.